the three of us, all right. The three of us trying to present you today with vital pieces of information for our MA programs in English and American Studies. And it happens so that is I go first. My name is Laszlo Shari, and I'm in charge of the MA in American Studies at the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences at the University of Pecs. And my first job is to give you the basics, what I think you might want to know about the city, about the university itself, the faculty who teach in the American Studies MA program, also a bit about the Faculty of the Humanities and the Social Sciences and the program itself. And should you have any questions, we would be more than happy to answer them. You can post those questions and they'll be delivered to me and my learned colleagues who are also listening in on this presentation and will proceed in their due course. So whatever you want to know and you haven't had a chance to hear in these presentations, just don't hesitate to pose those questions and we'll get back to them in due time. All right, I shall proceed in this order. I'll talk a bit about the city that you may want to come and study in, then the university, the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, the people who teach in the American Studies program, and the program itself. But first and foremost, the city, which dates back to Roman times, but was shaped into the kind of regional control center in the south and southeast of Hungary in the 1970s, maybe starting in the 19th century. The city itself boasts a multi-ethnic population consisting of Hungarians with Croats, Germans, Gypsies, and so on, so other ethnic minorities present, also having left their traces on the cultural facade of the city and being represented at the university in the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences as well. So Pécs developed from a mining town to a cultural capital of Europe in 2010, the first in Hungary to be recognized by the European Union as such, because of the kind of cultural heritage that had compiled during the 19th and 20th centuries in the city. We also have ties across the border of some of the cities that are important regionally are just across the border. The next international airport is in 60 kilometers away in Osijek. Zagreb is in 5 minutes in a 5-hour drive or 5 hours on a train, and the city itself is not just a kind of gathering place for all these cultural influences, but the university itself is at the heart and at the center of the city, being the most important provider of jobs and services in the region, in the city. The university itself traces its history back to 1367, claiming the title Hungary's first university because of the historical roots that go back there. And it's one of the 3 major research universities outside the capital of Hungary, that is Budapest, in strong competition with Szeged and Debrecen. The university itself consists of 10 faculties in different disciplines, from medicine through law and economics, the humanities and the social sciences. So what we can offer is a complete academic and educational portfolio. The faculty itself, the Faculty of the Humanities and the Social Sciences, is the biggest of them all in terms of student population and in other terms. I shall come to that in a second. It is also worth mentioning that we have a large international student body. Approximately 1 in 6 or 7 students is an international student at the University of Pecs. And the climate owes much to this international presence at the university. The faculty, as I mentioned, is the largest of the 10 and the most varied in its scope, be it academic disciplines, interests, and I should mention this with no little pride. It's the most prestigious of the 10 faculties at the university in terms of academic recognition. We have the most PhD titles, habilitations, academic doctorates in proportion to the faculty who teaches here. We have a growing number of international students in rivalry with the medical faculty, owing to international relations of a major that you may also want to consider for your further studies, psychology and English and American studies. We are internationally well connected. Fulbright's through Fulbright scholarship. Fulbright scholars arrive regularly on a regular basis to our institute, and also through what is called the CEPUS network, which is a local exchange program, an Eastern European exchange program for teachers of American studies. So we have visiting scholars, visiting teachers coming to teach in our institution, and we also go to various places in the region. That is, if it's not down to the COVID situation. The presence of the international student body also owes its volume to a scholarship program called Stipendium Hungaricum. So this is something that you may have also heard about, which allows international students to study at the university from BA to PhD level. And I'm emphasizing the PhD level because the English and American studies programs, MA programs, also feed conveniently into a PhD program that we have in English, or literatures in English in Europe and in Northern America. You'll find a link to that at the end of my presentation. Now, the people in American studies, I do think it's important to know the faces who teach with us. And I'm sorry to have started with myself in case you don't recognize the guy with the beard. That's me pre-COVID. I start with myself because I'm in charge of the program itself, meaning that I take care of the official matters. I oversee the program and so on and so on. My learned colleague is on the other side is Monika Fodor, who's the head of the Department of English Literatures and Cultures, and she's in charge of the most subjects in our program. Her expertise would include things like ethnography, cultural identities, cultural anthropology within cultural studies, and the like. She's quite a scholar when it comes to that in the field of modernist American literatures. Our next two colleagues that I'd like to mention is Professor Gabriela Veu, who's a 19th century American literature scholar, also doing excellent work in the field of the ethnic canon in contemporary American literature. And my learned colleague Gertrude Samosi, who's into Canadian literature for the most part of her career. And it's her that you'd be able to study American literatures in an international context. The next two colleagues, Livia Seelpaal and Csaba Materka, the newest ones at the department. Livia Seelpaal is a historian, actually, but she is mostly interested in urban histories and she's also in charge of a mentor program, helping students finding their way around the university, helping them in their studies. So she's the person to turn to if you run into any difficulty whatsoever. Choba Motsaka is a distinguished scholar of early and early modern English literatures, but he's also into digital humanities. So if you want to know how to do cutting edge research with us, he's one of the people to turn to. Norbert Jurich, as you may see from this casual picture, is the person who teaches popular culture and various sub or literary genres that are considered sub-literally the fantastic, science fiction, fantasy, and the like. And John Walker is our cherished native speaker of Scottish origin, but a US citizen whose areas of expertise would include American and US history. Of the last two colleagues, last but not least, are two distinguished linguists, Judith Dombey and Tomáš Fekete. Both of them are ex-students, and they teach intercultural communication and the history of American English with us in the American Studies program. Right. You'll find those names and pictures at our university webpage with further references to what people do research in and what they publish. I'll include the link in the comments that follow. Now, if you take a look at the American Studies MA program, then you'll see that it contains all the necessary elements a program like this should contain: advanced studies in American Lit, American history, American Studies, which is a major discipline in its own right, US Culture and Society, and of course, research methodology as something to help you along the way in your studies and in your research throughout the MA. American Studies itself would constitute of the major part of your coursework in the second part of the MA. With thesis consultations running from the first to the fourth semester. You'll be helped with experts in trying to find what interests you the most and what you'd like to devote your attention to when doing individual research towards the thesis. Also, throughout your studies, you'll be asked to do 10 credits in electives, mostly from courses offered by our departments at the English Institute. And this is, again, something important that I should emphasize. Our program offers a specialization in American literature. So unlike the English Studies program that you'll be hearing about in a couple of seconds by my learned colleagues, this program, as it stands, has only one specialization to offer, and that is in American literature. So whatever you would like to do in terms of your research, it should be done through American literature, its representation in American literature. And most of the courses that we offer in this specialization track in the MA would focus on various distinctive trends in American literature, historical fiction, American literature, and popular culture, and the way in which they interact. Literature and identity politics, a huge topic in its own right. American literary institutions and the way in which they shape the course of American literature over the decades and centuries. And also the novelty stuff, that is how new American literatures are influenced by the presence of new media. And last but not least, how American literature fares in an international context? Why is it, for example, that among the huge names of contemporary American literature, of all the people, it has to be Bob Dylan who receives the Nobel Prize in Literature? This is the program in a nutshell. And should you have any other questions, anything you are interested in particular, I'll stick around and be happy to answer any question you may have. These are two websites that I'd like to draw your attention to. The first one contains the procedure of application. That is how you can apply to American Studies, the American Studies MA at our university. And the second link will point you in the direction of our PhD program in case you are considering further studies in the field and with us. So thank you for your attention, and I shall hand you over to my learned colleagues who will present you with details of the MA in English Studies.
All right, Dr. Shari, thanks for that. I'm just checking.
Dr. Horváth, you are muted.
I thought I unmuted myself. Thank you. Thank you. So Professor Shari, I just wondering, I'm looking at the chat window and I'm not seeing any immediate questions, but maybe that will be coming later on. So we'll be continuing then with the introduction to the Masters in English Studies program. So if you just bear with me, I'll share my screen. Here we go. I hope it's visible. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, so welcome to the second webinar part. It's about the MA in English Studies after the MA in American Studies program. And as you saw, there is kind of overlap between the two in terms of the literature specialization, which of course the MA in English Studies also covers. But first, it's so good, hopefully, to see so many of you. I don't know how many people are now connected, but it's our belief and trust and hope that it's several of you following these two webinars. And first, let me just welcome everyone who is present, as well as introduce you to our co-host, Dr. Gabriela Hartwig, who is the manager of the program. Thanks for joining. And we have two special guests, second-year students, who will be graduating in the next couple of weeks, I think. One of them is Lena, and the other is Taha. I'm not seeing Taha's video here, but I'm pretty sure his image is gonna reappear. So first we'll say a few words about the program, but before that, you've heard some ideas about and some information about the city. This is a 2,000 years old city. Some people say it's 2,000 years young, because of course, when you think of the city, that can be anywhere between 5,000 to 5 years old. But I think one reason why we can call Page a 2,000 year young city is partly the students. We heard about the heritage. One specific heritage is the UNESCO World Heritage Site. You heard about the events taking place in 12 years ago, 2010. Page was then selected the European Capital of Culture. And it's not only in that year that many people come to visit or came to visit. And I just want to show you a little video of an international song music event, European one, and just for you to see and hear the atmosphere of the city in the summertime. So hope I can play it. Let me just check. Can you hear and see it? It's okay. Okay, let me just go into the nighttime part of this festival. All right, so those of you that come to study in Page, you see some of these things not only in the summer but in the fall semester, and it really just shows you how international the place can be sometimes. And certainly, our interest in today's webinar is to make sure that whoever is really interested in studying here feels attracted to do so. So now, a few additional ideas about the university. The city is 2,000 years young. The university is 655 years young, but really the major kind of time when we can call this university to really have been in existence after the first foundation in 1367 has been since 1923, when it was re-established, and the university was formally moved here from Bratislava. And next year, that'll be the 100th anniversary of this event. So those of you who are here will certainly be part of those celebrations. Currently, there are over 22,000 students at the university, of whom almost 5,000 are from a foreign country, international students. And I don't know whether this plays any role in people's decisions to come to Page, but one reason why this international student body and the university kind of work together so finely is because of the medical faculty, and partly because of the medical faculty, we can say that in Page you really can find one of the best medical services in the country. All right, so you know that we have two special guest students, Lina and Taha. So let me invite them to share their ideas about what you can expect and what they expected and what they experienced in the last 4 semesters. Lina?
Thank you, Dr. Horvath. Yeah, Page is such a beautiful city. It's not too big, not too small. The people of Page are very, very nice, very welcoming and open-minded people. I can also say about this city that it's a very international city. You will see people from all kinds of backgrounds, different ethnicities. So you, as a student here, as an international student, you will definitely feel included. You will not at all feel like an outsider or an outcast, which is a very, very good thing. Also, I would like to say that this city has a lot of beautiful basilicas. You can also find the Qasim Pasha Mosque, which was built in the mid-16th century in the heart of the city center, which is really beautiful. And even if you wanted to take a time out from the city, you can go to the Mechek mountain range. You can hike to Kishti Bishikilato or Tetje, and you can have a panoramic view of the city, which is absolutely breathtaking. I can also add that there are cultural events that are held annually in Page, such as the Light Festival, which features participants from all around the world, and it's a very, very remarkable event. Of course, the courses and some students here, the courses have been very, very fun and very beneficial. Most of the courses were seminars, so you, as a student, you can always participate and share your opinions, your ideas, and your take on what you read. And this gives you the opportunity to share your opinions and also listen to other people's opinions, which can add a lot to your perspective. And yeah, finally, I would like to conclude by saying that it has been a very enriching experience for me, both academically and on a personal level. And I highly encourage students to come see this beautiful city and study here. Taha, what do you think?
Well, my experience is mostly going to be focusing on the international student aspect and that student life. I am currently a member of the Erasmus Student Network, and our basic job is to provide guidance and interesting and fun activities for the Erasmus students. But our activities are not only fixated on these Erasmus students, because anyone can basically come, join, meet new people, interact with different people from different cultures, and build networks and connections with people from varying countries in Europe and even from the Middle East or from Asia as well. Moreover, with the academics, the classes have been extremely fun. And I can remember fondly a class that is the comparative approaches to British literature. And in that class, you're invited to write a seminar paper. In that seminar paper, it's like you can write about everything you want with like translations, adaptation. And this was one of my most like fun classes that I've ever had, because it invites us to bring our own background, our own culture into the program. And that was something that I haven't expected at all during my BA. And it's really interesting to have that in my MA studies, because the student is invited to be part of the course, invited to be part of the curriculum, because we have the student evaluation at the end of each semester. And the student evaluation, you can ask for more courses. I asked for poetry, and Professor Gabriele will hopefully add it in for next semester. The entire experience was just pure joy and pure happiness, and I've experienced my love for literature as much as I can because of the wonderful professors, the wonderful city, and the wonderful program at the University of Page. And now I will leave the ground for my professor, Professor Gabriele, who will talk briefly about our program and about the literature track.
Yes, thank you so much, Taha. So let me go on and say a few words about our program. It is structured into introductory and core courses, and we have 2 specializations. So let me begin with the introductory and core courses first. In this first semester, we have lectures and seminars, both literature and linguistics. So here in the first 1, maybe 2 semesters, you will study how to do research, how to write an academic paper. You will learn history of linguistics and forms of literature, but also British social history and literary theory. From the second semester, you specialize. You decide whether you want to study English applied linguistics or English literature. There are 10 seminars in each track, and what is characteristic of the courses in our specializations is that they are more specialized. They focus on a narrow field within the discipline, and these are seminars. So you will give presentations, you will write essays, as Taha mentioned, on a wide range of topics, and you have much freedom there. And there is, of course, much discussion. In some seminars, there are projects which students work on. And then we arrive at the 4th semester, where you have elective courses worth 10 credits and also your thesis writing. Now, as Dr. Shari suggested, as regards elective courses, you may choose seminars from the other MA program, MA in American Studies, but you may also choose courses in the applied linguistics track. So you're quite free to sign up for really any courses offered by the university. And so in the 4th semester, by that time, you will have chosen your thesis topic and also your supervisor for your thesis. Let me say a few words about the literature specialization, or specialization in English literature, or literature track, that is shorter. We cannot cover the entirety of English literature, so the seminars in this track look more like a selection of literary schools, trends, or periods. You can see the list of courses there. Let me also add that teaching in our program takes place on Monday and Tuesday, so every Monday and Tuesday, and there are roughly 6 courses per semester which you have to attend, and the entire program is 120 credits. So back to the literature track, the teachers of those courses that you can see a list of on the slide, the teachers of these courses are experts in their field. They publish, they give lectures at conferences, and they are knowledgeable about the most recent scholarship in their field. And there are also seminars which have 2 parts and last throughout 2 semesters. It enables the teacher to explore a field in greater depth. Such course is the post-colonial literature course or the Irish drama course. So when the topic is related to other literature such as Shakespeare or the Renaissance, we pay attention that the teacher who teaches that course tries to teach the older literary periods in a student-friendly way, and for example, uses digital literary studies and other aids, or makes projects, so to make those older ages more digestible for students. Now, let me give you an example of an individual course. This is called A Cultural History of Literary Genres in Britain. This is a lecture course, and which is followed by a seminar. It is taught jointly by 2 teachers, and it belongs to the core courses. So it gives an overview of literary forms, from which poetry is perhaps less represented, but we will try and include more poetry in the course and maybe offer other courses on poetry. So it offers, like I said, an overview of literary forms such as utopia, the dialogue, novel, the birth of the English novel and its subgenres, the Victorian novel, dramatic monologue, the modernist novel, and the postmodern. And it finishes with a colloquium, that is an oral exam based on the lectures and the assigned readings. So this is how a typical course, or what a typical course looks like in the literature track. Now we will move on, and that's another example of a seminar in the specialization. It's entitled Digital Literary Studies, and Dr. Shari mentioned it, that Dr. Csaba Macálka is an expert in digital humanities. So this is his course, which is also part of the courses in the specialization. Now I would like to ask Dr. Horváth to say a few words about the other specialization called Applied or English Applied Linguistics.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, so I think when you think of the entire philosophy of the MA in English Studies program, whether people choose the literary or the applied linguistics track with specialization, I think there's an overarching kind of coherence, because a lot of the things that people study in literature really is applied linguistics. I mean, who would be a better applied linguist than, say, John Hersey or David Foster Wallace, whose dedication to language, life, and understanding humanity is really such an important aspect of both literature and linguistics. So I think there's a lot of overlap between literature and applied linguistics, but certainly the specialty of applied linguistics is that it partly based on linguistic knowledge and theories, it goes in search of answering questions, but more often recently also has been this trend of actually providing solutions that have relevance to language. So I think that is what applied linguistics currently can be, how it can be defined perhaps. So in terms of the the actual courses, both introductory and core, as well as the more special courses. There's a number of all the courses are listed here that are taken in the second and third semesters. I would just highlight maybe this course analysis. New Englishes and corpus linguistics, English corpus linguistics of these, that for one reason, from one point of view, actually are interrelated. There's a lot of this course analysis that is studied using corpus linguistic methods, and because remembering that this is a 2,000-year young city and a 655-year young university, things which are recent, current, that is new English forms, English as a lingua franca, are exciting new fields in this analysis. I also have a specific concrete course to highlight. It happens to be a course I teach in the third semester. It's called Print and Electronic Media. And I don't know whether you can see the description, but the first three words in the description are voice is key, because in this course, the print and electronic media, whether it's electronic can be, for example, audiobooks or podcasts. Print can be various genres in journalism, but it aims to really understand and help students understand the importance of voice when we read and when we get in touch with current issues. And one of the readings in this particular course was actually David Foster Wallace's collection, Consider the Lobster, which I consider the ultimate applied linguistics, maybe treatise perhaps. In this course, we also had a special guest, actually, who joined and talked about a research project. All right, so you can apply by July 15th, and Dr. Hartwig is going to tell you more details about the application process. Let me just say that the QR code that you see here, you can take a picture of it with your phone, and then it will take you directly to that site where the application page opens at the university website.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Horváth. So you will find the link on the slide. And if you just go to apply.pte.hu, you can select either the American Studies MA program or the English Studies MA program. And there you will see what documents you have to submit or upload to this online application portal. A copy of the BA diploma in English Studies with transcript of records, certified and translated copy of school transcripts showing satisfactory completion of senior high school, Europass CV in English, motivation letter in 3,000 or 3,500 characters, a copy of your valid passport or national ID, and a medical certificate, vaccination card, different results of different tests. And there is an application fee of 140 euros. And as regards language exams, you will find a list of the variety of language proficiency exams which you can take and send the result, or as regards the MA in English Studies, or a written document certifying an advanced command of English. And there is also an entrance exam, an oral exam, which is conducted via Teams or Skype. We do an interview with you about your past studies and your plans, and maybe we will ask a question about your thesis if you had to write one. The tuition fee is 1,900 euros per semester. And yeah, that's it about the application procedure. Now it's time for questions. and we will answer those questions to the best of our knowledge. So the field is yours. Feel free to ask any questions.
So you can type your, you can type, can you hear me?
Yes.
You can type the questions in chat. And as soon as we see them popping up, we'll make sure that we answer.
Yeah, there is one question. Who can see your messages? The six of us can certainly see your questions, and we will answer them if you ask questions. And I think no one else.
The questions won't be shown. No one's going to see who is asking what question. We will not, in the answer, include any name that we may have seen, but we'll only read the question and then give the answer if we can give the answer. So there are no questions yet, but we'll wait. It takes some time to type. Even the master needs some time for writing the great Hungarian or American chat message. Okay, we'll wait patiently. Let me just say in the meantime that any questions I think can be asked after this webinar, because there is a Facebook live feed, and I believe in that feed there is a comment section. But obviously everyone who is connected to Facebook can see then who has asked that question. Besides those though, let me just show not this, but this. If you can see the email addresses. Of course, you can see all these email addresses and every colleague's email address at the university faculty website. When you look at the staff, you'll then see the colleagues. And besides the staff, you can see here our guest speakers, Lina and Taha's email address, because maybe there are a few questions that you want to ask them directly.
So you can contact us anytime,
Yes.
ask for the schedule of courses or.
Okay, so no questions. Any clarifications needed? Maybe everyone is particularly happy with knowing all the answers, but maybe there's an area of a question that you want to clarify so that we know whether there has been anything that we missed or wasn't clear enough. I don't know, Lina or Taha, do you think that would be questions that you would ask if you were now coming to university, do you think? Or I don't know, do you think there's something that maybe you would like to add to what we talked about?
Maybe like the living expenses or regards to the thesis.
Okay, so what do you think you can say about either of these two topics?
Okay, for the thesis, depending on which program you chose, either the American Studies or the British Studies, you need. This is something I didn't have like a clear idea about, but with each of those, you need to only select a topic for your thesis that only fits with your program. So only American literature or only British literature. Because at the time I thought that I can pick from any kind of literature. So that was clarified to me before I started my thesis, which was really good because I picked Lord of the Rings, which is perfect. For the living expenses, Page is not that expensive of a city compared like for example to Budapest, and it's really easy to find a place that is nearby a lot of accommodations like Spar, like a big supermarket, or near the mall. But the prices vary from at least like 130 euros to 200, depending on how much like you have, like how much you are doing financially. But to find these apartments, there are a lot of Facebook groups like Flats for Rent. There's a lot of real estate agents. The one I chose to find my apartment was thegreathomes.hu, and they had a lot of homes available in the city of Page. And you can also find a lot of people on the international Facebook groups, international students of Page, for example, that you can ask, for example, to be a flatmate with a person. You could share rent, so on. So, but that's basically it for living expenses. Just for apartments, finding a place to go live in. For food expenses, it's like any other country in Europe. The food expenses are from average to a bit expensive, but they're all good. Like you can find a lot of alternatives. You have Lidl, you have Spar, you have Aldi, you have these supermarkets that you can find. But living expenses are average, and also at the end, depending on your financial state. But so far, it's a very, very chill place that you can easily navigate around, meet everyone that you want to meet from different nationalities and so on.
Thanks, Taha, for that insight.
You're welcome.
In the meantime, I think we got a question about scholarship opportunities. I think the current webinar is for people that are submitting possibly their application during the summer. I'm not aware whether the Hungarian National Scholarship Fund is available to them. Stipendium Hungaricum, I think it's
Yes,
a different
it
one,
is.
or Erasmus program.
Yes, it is, and we already sent the link to that question in the Facebook live feed. So
Okay. Okay, that's good.
in case you're interested in a fully funded stay over study experience, of Stipendium Hungaricum is the channel through which you can apply, and you can either do that through the link from the university, or you can go straight to Stipendium Hungaricum and find us there.
All right, thanks for that.
I can add to that there are a lot of other than the national, there's the Erasmus programs as well that are offered for a lot of students that they can apply also through the website of the faculty. They can find opportunities. There's a lot of internships programs that are available for like Erasmus, maybe for 1 semester or 2 semesters for full-time students as well.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
All right, so in this picture, you can see the entrance to the main building of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities and Social Sciences. We hope many of you will be going through this every Monday, Tuesday morning, starting in the fall semester. Unless there are other questions or topics, I think we will thank you for joining us. On behalf of the faculty, the Institute of English Studies, the university, Page, and this country, enjoy the summer, look forward to your applications, and we'll meet in July with the entrance exam.
Like we said, the slides will be available.
That's right.
So, and should you need any piece of information, do not hesitate to write us an email or find our colleagues online. Thank you very much for being
Thank you
with
for
us.
coming. Thank you to our students to be present
as well. Yes.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.